Imagine two people who graduate from the same college, move to the same city, and start their careers with identical salaries. 20 years later, the gap between them is massive. One achieved $500,000 in net worth, while the other fell $45,000 into debt. Despite wildly different outcomes, their starting conditions, degree, location, and baseline income never changed. We typically assume the person on the left possessed more intelligence or better luck with the stock market. However, math and timing alone rarely explain a difference of this scale. The real divergence comes from daily psychological habits. Long-term financial security relies on behavioral control, far more than raw earning power. Most of us are taught to treat money as a series of equations, yet millions of highly intelligent people still make decisions that move them closer to stress. This explains why a person earning $50,000 can quietly become a millionaire, while a celebrity earning 50 times that amount files for bankruptcy. Every financial decision is shaped by hidden emotional triggers. Our hidden fears, our childhood experiences, our individual beliefs dictate every risk we take and every dollar we spend. If two people receive the exact same financial advice, they will produce different results because their internal psychology dictates how they interpret and act on those facts. Without mastering these internal behaviors, a higher income often just provides more fuel for financial stress. Most of us spend our lives chasing a higher salary, believing that a bigger paycheck is the primary solution to our financial problems. But every time we earn more, our expenses tend to grow at the same rate. A promotion leads to a more expensive car. A bonus becomes a more lavish vacation. This chart illustrates the mechanics of lifestyle inflation. As the blue income line steps upward following a promotion, it creates an opportunity to build wealth. However, most earners immediately increase their recurring liabilities, like a larger mortgage, causing the red expense line to match the new income level. This neutralizes the financial benefit of the raise. Even though you are earning more, the gap between what you make and what you keep stays flat. This cycle creates a false sense of progress. You feel successful because your lifestyle has improved, but your actual capital remains at zero. We fall into this trap because we've been taught that wealth is what we can see, the luxury neighborhood or the newest phone. Relying purely on income growth guarantees lifelong vulnerability if your spending habits automatically expand to consume every raise you receive. Much of what we call wealth is actually visible lifestyle, items purchased specifically to signal status to strangers. To understand the difference, look at this iceberg. The small tip above the water represents your visible lifestyle. The massive section hidden below the surface represents your actual wealth. Real financial security consists of these unseen assets: index funds, unspent cash, and the absence of debt. A person in a luxury car may owe the bank 6 figures for that image, while the person in a 10-year-old sedan might quietly hold $1 million investment portfolio. Prioritizing these invisible assets over short-term social status is the only reliable way to buy long-term freedom. Building this invisible foundation requires a mastery of delayed gratification. Every dollar you earn represents a physical conversion of your time. When you spend it, you are trading hours of your life that you can never get back. Unnecessary purchases carry a second cost, the future opportunity that money could have created if it had been invested instead. When you finance visible status with debt, you legally bind your future labor to pay for past consumption. Keeping your money transfers power back to you. Every dollar saved is a seed that eventually grows into the ability to control your own schedule. Real wealth is measured by the future options you retain, the ability to walk away from a bad job or wait for the right opportunity. Every new dollar earned presents a choice between temporary excitement today and the ability to control your time tomorrow. You can navigate this choice using a wealth priority matrix. It begins the moment your income increases. If you follow the branch toward an upgraded lifestyle, you've effectively traded your new earning power for a decrease in future options. Choosing the right-hand branch, maintaining your current lifestyle, and investing the difference directly increases your future freedom. Consistently choosing this path creates a compounding loop where your money begins to do the work that your time used to do. This requires a total decoupling of your spending habits from your earning power. For high earners whose stress levels remain high despite their salaries, your income isn't the problem. It's the automatic expansion of your lifestyle. Freeze your current spending immediately and divert all future raises into invisible assets. For average earners who practice delayed gratification but feel socially behind, remember that appearances are often misleading. By avoiding heavy leverage for the sake of status, you possess a mathematical advantage over your more successful-looking peers. If you are just beginning, focus on this single directive. Wealth is the money you don't spend. Regardless of your income bracket, financial independence is a deliberate outcome of behavior. It is earned by prioritizing your future options over today's visible status.
Welcome back. Today, we're taking on one of the biggest, most pervasive lies about money, which is this idea that having more of it just automatically creates happiness. I mean, we've all heard it, right? Society practically runs on this assumption. It's the whole reason we grind away for that next promotion, because nothing cures existential dread quite like a slightly larger direct deposit. Okay, let's dive into this, because the source material we're looking at today completely dismantles that myth. It turns out that is just not how wealth works. So what is the actual price of independence? Let's find out. Picture this. On one side, we have someone pulling in $500,000 a year. On paper, they are absolutely crushing it. But when you look a little closer at their day-to-day reality, their schedule is just packed with high-stress meetings, endless deadlines, and non-stop pressure. They literally can't even take a short weekend trip without frantically checking emails on their phone. Now contrast that with the other side. This person earns a significantly lower income, but they have years of savings built up. They wake up completely anxiety-free, they get to choose projects they actually enjoy, and they spend time with their family entirely on their own terms. It instantly shatters the illusion that a massive income automatically equals freedom. So looking at those two setups, who is truly wealthier? It's a pretty profound question, mostly because people tragically confuse income with freedom all the time. We just assume the person making 500 grand is the wealthy one. But wealth, in its truest sense, isn't just about the cash hitting your bank account if you're instantly trading away your peace of mind and all of your waking hours for it. All right, moving into our first core section, the true value of money and buying control. If money isn't a direct ticket to happiness, what exactly is it good for when it's used right? The answer is absolute control. Real luxury isn't a giant mansion or a garage packed with sports cars. Though hey, to be fair, crying in a Ferrari is probably slightly better than crying on a bus. But true luxury is just the ability to choose. It's the power to walk away from a job you absolutely hate. It's having the bandwidth to take time off when life throws a curveball, or to step up and help the people you love, without having to ask your boss or a bank for permission. Redefining luxury this way really changes everything. Realizing that the absolute greatest thing money can buy is your own independence is a total game changer for your financial strategy. Which brings us to this absolutely crucial equation. Savings equals options. We're usually taught to save money entirely out of fear, right? You know, building an emergency fund just because bad things might happen. But our source material completely flips this on its head. Saving money isn't just about dreading the worst-case scenario. It's about actively buying pieces of your own independence. Every single dollar you save becomes another piece of freedom. Every investment is a brand new layer of security. And conversely, every unnecessary expense just delays that freedom. Getting right to the heart of this explainer now. Section 2, income versus true freedom, separating the metrics. This is where we need to clearly separate the money you make from the freedom you actually get to keep. They are two totally different metrics, and mixing them up is exactly how most people end up trapped in the rat race. And this brilliantly illustrates the core difference. Income is incredibly fragile. It can literally disappear overnight with one layoff, a sudden market shift, or a health issue. Freedom, on the other hand, stays firmly with the people who actively prepare for uncertainty. Your monthly paycheck doesn't automatically make you free. What you do with that paycheck to insulate yourself from the world's unpredictability is what buys your freedom. True independence requires intentional preparation, not just a massive fleeting paycheck. Let's look at the flip side for a second, the stark reality of a zero-margin life. If you spend every single dollar you make, you are essentially walking a financial tightrope with zero safety net underneath you. One unexpected bill, one medical emergency, one lost job, when you're living with no margin, any one of these incredibly common life events causes the whole entire thing to fall apart. A lot of times, the overwhelming stress you feel isn't even because you don't earn enough, it's just because you have zero buffer. A financial reserve doesn't magically stop problems from happening, but it completely removes that paralyzing urgency, giving you the breathing room to respond thoughtfully instead of just spiraling into a panic. Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, the hidden cost of comparison, or the social media trap. So why do so many smart, high-earning people end up stuck on that tightrope? Well, it's largely due to these psychological traps set by society. The constant urge to keep up with the Joneses, quietly but absolutely, destroys financial wisdom. I mean, we are constantly bombarded by this idealized social media lifestyle. Bigger homes, luxury vacations, the designer brands. It looks like literally everyone around us is living this extraordinary life. But what's actually hiding behind the curtain? Endless monthly payments, crushing debt, constant suffocating financial pressure, sleepless nights. This is the dark side of consumerism. If your happiness and your self-worth depend on keeping up with or outspending the people around you, you are never going to feel rich. Because someone, somewhere is always going to have a bigger house, a newer car, or a larger portfolio. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this incredibly powerful self-audit question. If nobody could see what I owned, would I still want it? Just let that sink in for a second. Actually asking yourself this before your next big purchase can literally save you thousands of dollars that you might otherwise waste just trying to impress strangers you barely even know. So much of our spending isn't driven by actual need. It's driven by the fleeting desire to be noticed. But real confidence? That comes from knowing you don't need shiny objects to prove your value. I gotta be honest with you here. This is where it gets really real. From the outside looking in, true financial discipline looks incredibly boring. You're driving a 10-year-old car while your neighbor's leasing a brand new sports car. You're actively avoiding unnecessary debt. You're quietly investing instead of buying a flashy new watch. It looks completely ordinary, but jump forward a decade and it looks absolutely brilliant. Because while superficial attention fades incredibly quickly, wealth grows quietly in the background. One of the single greatest financial advantages you can have isn't earning more money, it's just wanting less stuff. Contentment creates room for wealth, whereas constant desire just creates endless expenses. Let's shift gears and move into Section 4, preparation over perfect prediction. The future is totally unknown. Okay, we've talked a lot about the psychology of money, but now we need to talk actionable strategy by addressing a fundamental truth about our world. 0. That is the exact number of people on Earth who have perfectly predicted every major recession, every market crash, and every global crisis. No one knows exactly what the economy is going to do tomorrow, next month, or next year. Life is always going to surprise you. So your goal isn't to be some fortune teller who knows exactly what's going to happen. Your goal is to be resilient for whatever happens. To really wrap your head around this, just imagine you're taking a cross-country road trip. You don't expect every single mile to be clear skies and open roads. You know for a fact you're going to hit traffic, construction, bad weather, maybe some unexpected detours. And because you know this, what do? You pack extra fuel, you bring an emergency kit, you leave a little early, you prepare because you fully expect things to go wrong along the way. Now map that road trip directly onto your financial life. Your financial journey is going to look exactly the same. You are inevitably going to encounter recessions, market crashes, global crises, and highly unexpected personal life events. These aren't rare exceptions or glitches in the matrix. They are an unavoidable part of the journey. Markets rise and fall, businesses succeed and fail, the economy expands and then it slows down. The only absolute constant in the entire economy is change. Let's move to and see how this builds into an actual strategy. These are the straightforward steps smart investors take to prepare. 1. Keep emergency savings. 2. Diversify your investments. 3. Avoid risking everything on one single opportunity. These are realistic, highly unglamorous steps, but this is exactly what protects your wealth from disaster. People often lose fortunes because they get overconfident and just assume their recent success is going to continue forever. But history repeatedly proves otherwise. The survivors aren't always the smartest people in the room. They are simply the most prepared. Because preparation creates real confidence, not prediction. And that brings us to our final section, the power of time, the ultimate multiplier. As your understanding of money matures, you start to realize something incredibly surprising. If you want to know the true mechanism that builds lasting independence and turns all that preparation into an absolute fortress of wealth, this is it. Financial success actually has very little to do with finding that one perfect golden investment. Instead, it's about small choices, repeated for decades. It's about consistently making reasonable, slightly boring decisions over a very long period of time. It's paying yourself first, living below your means, and not panicking and selling everything when the market dips. That is where extraordinary wealth is quietly created. So the crucial point is, the heavily underestimated secret ingredient that makes those small, quiet choices so immensely powerful is time. Time is the ultimate force multiplier. It takes ordinary, everyday discipline and compounds it into extraordinary wealth and absolute independence. Which leaves us with one final vital question to close out this explainer. I want you to ask yourself honestly, are you using your money to buy things, or are you using it to buy your freedom? Really think about that the next time you open your wallet or look at your monthly budget. Because once you choose freedom, the way you look at every single dollar changes forever.
Welcome to this explainer on the psychology of money. Today, we're looking at something that is honestly completely transformative. When we think about building wealth, it's so incredibly easy to picture these chaotic trading floors, complex charts with flashing red and green lights, and high-stress split-second decisions, right? But what if I told you the actual reality of building lasting wealth looks a lot less like a frantic Wall Street movie and a lot more like, well, tending a garden? It's a gradual, deeply natural process. So we're going to break down the profound compound effect of patience and preparation, and look at how understanding this surprisingly simple concept can literally change your entire financial trajectory. Okay, let's dive into this. What if the greatest financial skill in the entire world is simply waiting? I know, that question totally challenges everything we are taught about success in the modern world. We just naturally assume the greatest financial force is speed. We idolize the person who makes $1 million overnight, or the trader who spots a trend a millisecond before anyone else. But the source material makes this truly fascinating argument. The greatest financial force in the world is almost never speed. It's time. Yet, most of us completely underestimate what time can actually do. People chase quick profits. They're constantly jumping from one hot investment to the next, just frantically searching for that next big opportunity. And by doing that, they actually destroy the very mechanism that creates lasting wealth. To really understand why this happens, imagine going out and planting a tiny little seed in your backyard. You dig the dirt, you carefully plant the seed, you give it some water. The next morning, you go out, look down, and absolutely nothing has changed. It's literally just dirt. A week later, you check again, and still, there is nothing impressive going on. A month later, you're staring at that exact same patch of dirt, seriously wondering to yourself, is this seed dead? Did I do something wrong here? And guys, this is the exact, deeply frustrating illusion of stagnation you feel when you first start saving money. At first, the growth feels totally disappointing. The numbers barely seem to move. And unfortunately, this is exactly the stage where most people just throw their hands up and quit. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what is actually happening when you feel like nothing is happening. Beneath the surface of that dirt, something extraordinary is taking place. Roots are spreading out. A solid foundation is growing. Life is forming exactly where your eyes cannot see it. And early investments, they do this exact same invisible work. You might not see explosive returns in your bank account right away, but you are building that essential root system. You are establishing the sturdy foundation that will eventually support massive, highly visible growth later on. And this brings us to the core engine of all wealth, compounding. Compounding is one of the very few forces in life that actually rewards patience significantly more than it rewards raw talent. Just think about how incredible this mechanic is for a second. You save a small amount, and eventually, the money you've already earned begins earning money on its own. And then those new earnings, they begin creating even more earnings. It's kind of like your money hires its own employees, and then those employees go out and hire more employees. Progress stops moving in a frustrating flat straight line. It begins to curve and accelerate upward. From the outside, when people finally see it, it looks like sudden overnight success. But in reality, it is just the delayed reward for years and years of quiet consistency. But here is the massive hurdle we all face right now. We live in a world that is fundamentally wired for instant gratification. Think about it. If we want food, it arrives at our door in minutes. Movies stream instantly. Messages are delivered across the globe in actual seconds. Our brains are actively conditioned every single day to expect immediate rewards. And the huge trap here is that we take that exact same conditioned expectation and we apply it to our money.
We expect our investments to pop quickly. We expect careers to advance overnight. So, when reality actually moves at the much slower pace of true compounding, frustration totally takes over. We end up abandoning perfectly good, life-changing opportunities simply because we expected the harvest way too soon. The wealthiest investors out there, they don't think in months, they think in decades.
And please realize, this principle does not only apply to your bank account. It applies to literally everything. Knowledge compounds, skills compound, relationships compound, trust and your reputation compound over time. Every small, seemingly insignificant improvement or positive interaction you make today, that's a seed planted. It has the potential to create massive opportunities for you years from now. Patient people achieve extraordinary results not because they possess some highly guarded secret talent, but simply because they give their efforts enough time to actually grow.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because tending a garden isn't just about planting seeds and waiting around. You'll also have to deal with the elements, right? You have to face the weather. And in finance, dealing with the weather means understanding true risk and preparing for the totally unexpected financial climates that will inevitably roll in and threaten your progress. So we really need to redefine risk here. Most people think risk simply means the potential of losing money on an investment, but the source material gives us a much deeper, far more profound definition. True risk is believing that something impossible can never happen. Actually, history is absolutely packed with events that the smartest people in the room thought were totally impossible, right up until the exact moment they happened. No one accurately predicts every major event. No one.
History practically guarantees we are going to face imperfect conditions. Financial crashes, economic recessions, tech revolutions totally wiping out old industries, pandemics, or wars. These are virtually guaranteed to happen over the course of a lifetime, but we survive them through preparation, diversification, emergency savings, and insurance. And look, none of those things are exciting. Having an emergency savings account isn't thrilling. But you know what else isn't exciting? Total financial disaster. Preparation often feels entirely unnecessary, right up until the exact day it becomes absolutely essential. The strongest financial plans in the world are not built for perfect, sunny conditions. They are deliberately built to survive the imperfect ones, and doing that creates the most valuable asset of all, complete peace of mind.
I absolutely love this analogy from the text to really drive home the mindset we need here. Imagine walking across a frozen lake. Even if the ice looks incredibly solid, and even if 100 people walked across it safely right before you, you still walk carefully. You don't do it because you live in a constant state of panic or fear. You do it because you respect uncertainty. Financial decisions demand that exact same respect. Never assume today's success guarantees tomorrow's safety, and never believe that one single source of income will always be there for you.
So, we've dealt with the weather, but there is an even more insidious threat to our financial garden: the weeds. These are the internal threats, specifically surviving our own emotional extremes. There are highly dangerous emotional impulses, chiefly greed and panic, that act exactly like aggressive weeds. If you leave them unchecked, they can completely choke out years, or even decades, of patient, compounded progress in a matter of days. Let's just trace the tragic, all-too-common timeline of a market dip. On day one, markets fall, maybe due to some unexpected news event, and fear instantly takes control. By day two, instead of waiting it out, people panic. They just can't handle the discomfort, so they pull the ripcord and they sell everything at a massive loss. Then months later, the initial shock fades, markets inevitably recover. But those people? They are completely left behind. They abandon their great opportunities just because they let a temporary emotion dictate a long-term strategy. And you know, the exact opposite happens too. During exciting times, people get super greedy. They invest money they absolutely can't afford to lose, and they foolishly assume the good times will literally last forever. Emotions create expensive mistakes. Discipline creates lasting wealth. It is such a stark, powerful contrast. The invisible habit that actually separates truly wealthy people from everyone else is that they point-blank refuse to make emotional decisions during emotional moments. They deeply understand that while their fear or their greed is highly temporary, the financial decisions they make while in those states are very often permanent. And this brilliantly illustrates the solution, which is actually quite simple. Successful investors don't just rely on sheer willpower to fight off panic and greed. They rely on automated systems. Systems reduce panic. Systems reduce greed. They create blind, unwavering consistency. If a portion of your paycheck automatically goes into your investments every single month, regardless of what the scary news headlines say, you remove the emotion entirely.
Furthermore, a really good system forces you to sleep on major decisions. It challenges your assumptions, recognizing that just one rash, emotional choice can undo years of quiet, patient progress. Now, let's say you do everything right. You plant the seed, you weather the brutal storms, you diligently pull the weeds. As your wealth finally grows, another challenge quietly appears right at the harvest: success itself. It is a massive hidden danger. After a few good years, many people become deeply overconfident. They start believing they're somehow smarter than the market. They start taking totally unnecessary risks and completely ignoring the basic principles that got them there in the first place. But eventually, reality always steps in to remind them that nobody controls uncertainty. The smartest people in the world never, ever stop respecting risk, and they never believe they are immune to making mistakes.
So the crucial point is, it all comes down to the number one. You don't win with money by being perfectly flawless and avoiding every single mistake. That is literally impossible. You win by ensuring your plan is sturdy enough to survive the one inevitable, massive mistake that happens. You win by surviving so that you can stay in the game long enough for compounding to actually do its magic. Which brings us to our final, ultimate takeaway from this explainer. Because at the end of the day, all of this patience, this careful preparation, this financial gardening, it's really about a fundamental shift. Are you spending your entire life anxiously serving money, constantly chasing quick wins, and stressing out over every little market dip? Or are you cultivating a life where money quietly and efficiently serves you? That shift in mindset, moving away from frantic speed to patient preparation, is where true financial freedom actually begins. So keep planting those seeds, respect the weather, and just let time do the heavy lifting.
Have you ever stopped to wonder what true wealth actually looks like? I mean, really looks like. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the psychology of money, unpacking the actual architecture of financial freedom. The source material we're analyzing has some literally eye-opening insights that challenge everything we think we know about how we view money versus how money actually works in the real world. If you love clear, structured learning, you are exactly in the right place. So let's just jump right into it.
Okay, so does making more money automatically equal happiness? It's the million-dollar question, right? Most of us spend our entire lives chasing more money, more stuff, more status. At first glance, it feels like a bulletproof strategy. The universal misconception is basically this: if earning 10 grand feels good, then 100 grand must feel amazing. And $1 million? Well, that's just pure happiness, right? But here is the trap that millions of people fall into. Step 1, you get a raise. Awesome. Step 2, you immediately go out and buy a bigger house or a nicer car. But step 3, you keep the exact same financial stress. The finish line doesn't just move, it completely disappears. The moment you hit one goal, a new one pops right up. That massive new house, it just becomes your new normal. The expensive vacation goes from being a special reward to just a baseline expectation. You end up trapped in this relentless hamster wheel where you're earning way more, but you feel the exact same baseline stress. We call this lifestyle inflation. It happens when a higher income just creates higher expenses instead of actual wealth, and it is quietly stealing financial freedom from millions of us. Think about it for a second. Every single raise becomes an excuse to spend more, and every promotion is just a reason to upgrade your life, rather than a golden opportunity to build real wealth. Your paycheck grows, sure, but your stress level doesn't budge. The truly wealthy, as we'll see, handle a bump in income very differently. Which brings us to part 1, the wealth iceberg. Notice the stark contrast here. On the left side, we've got visible status, the beautiful home, the luxury car, the flashy watch. Our brains and honestly our whole society just crave these exciting visible impulse purchases. But over on the right, we have invisible progress. This is the unsexy stuff, skipping unnecessary purchases, actively avoiding debt, and just quiet, consistent investing. Let's be real, the smartest financial decisions rarely get a round of applause. Literally nobody is complimenting you for the money you quietly transferred to your index funds. True wealth is built through these incredibly boring, completely invisible decisions that prioritize permanent freedom over a temporary dopamine hit. The source material puts it perfectly. Think about an iceberg. Everyone notices the small piece above the water. Almost nobody thinks about the enormous foundation hidden below. This brilliantly captures exactly how money works. We are hardwired to admire visible success, but we almost never see what it actually took to build it. Saving money, it feels painfully slow. Investing, it requires so much patience. Building wealth is practically invisible. But remember, invisible progress is absolutely still progress.
So let's break down this iceberg reality a bit more. If you compare above the water to below the water, you're going to find a pretty dangerous catch. Above the water, you have the appearances, the luxury lifestyle everyone on Instagram can see. But below the water, that's the reality. And here's the kicker. It's either years of immense quiet discipline, or, and this is scary, it's years of hidden debt. Appearances can be dangerously misleading. Some of the genuinely wealthiest people you pass on the street look completely ordinary. Meanwhile, some of the people who look the most successful are actually suffocating under hidden debt just below the surface. Moving on to part 2, freedom over appearance. So what is the actual, real measure of wealth? Well, ask yourself this. Can you choose how to spend your time today? Can you survive an unexpected challenge, like a medical bill or a car breaking down? Can you look a boss or a client in the eye and say no to an opportunity that just doesn't align with your values? According to our sources, genuine autonomy and deep security, that is the true metric of wealth. It's not about luxury, it's not about getting attention or status, it's simply about having the freedom and the profound security to live life completely on your own terms. Because ultimately, money changes your relationship with fear. Just imagine for a second the profound peace of waking up tomorrow morning knowing your bills are already covered, your emergency fund is locked and loaded, and you have zero panic about unexpected expenses. Money can't buy happiness, we know that, but it absolutely buys breathing room. And that breathing room eliminates so many of the problems that actually prevent happiness. At the end of the day, it's all about peace. That takes us to part 3, the cost of status. Notice how a sense of urgency actually narrows our thinking. On the left, financial pressure literally pushes us toward desperate choices. And it's not because people are irresponsible. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a biological reaction. Constant stress physically alters how your brain works. You get tunnel vision. But on the right, look at financial security. Security expands your judgment. When you have that breathing room we just talked about, you're calm. You negotiate better, you invest wiser, and you make vastly improved long-term decisions. Having savings doesn't just protect your future bank account, it literally protects your judgment today. $100. Every single time we open our wallets or tap our phones to spend this amount, a massive hidden choice is actually taking place behind the scenes. It all boils down to opportunity cost. When you drop that $100, you aren't just giving up the cash. You're giving up everything that money could have grown into. You're trading away future investments, future experiences, and future freedom, all for, slightly nicer coffee maker right now. Now, the goal here isn't to stop spending entirely. That's no way to live. The real goal is to spend intentionally, to spend on things that genuinely improve your daily life, and to ruthlessly cut spending on things that are just meant to impress other people. And here is the secret sauce. Contentment isn't the enemy of ambition. It is the absolute foundation of wise ambition. You can absolutely pursue huge goals without letting this endless desire for more destroy your gratitude for what you already have. So many people work harder every single year, but feel less and less satisfied, simply because they never pause to stop wanting more. The happiest wealthy people? They combine both. They stay highly ambitious, but they never, ever allow that ambition to cannibalize their gratitude. Which leads us to our final section, part 4, your greatest financial asset. Let's talk about the only truly crash-proof investments out there: your knowledge, your skills, your health, and your relationships. The person you become is, without a doubt, your greatest financial asset. Think about how this works. Your skills are what create your income, your character is what protects it, and your wisdom is what multiplies it over time. Investing in yourself, learning, growing, it never stops paying dividends. These are permanent, lifelong returns that literally no stock market crash can ever take away from you. So I'm going to leave you with this ultimate, slightly provocative question. Are you building a meaningful life or just the appearance of one? Because when it's all said and done, having money is really only valuable if it actually helps you live according to your true values, giving you that sweet autonomy and security, rather than just finding a visible illusion for everyone else. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. I really hope this structured look at invisible wealth empowers you to start making those quiet, boring, but absolutely brilliant decisions for your own financial freedom. Keep learning, keep focusing on what actually matters, and I will see you on the next one.
Picture this for a second. You wake up exactly 20 years from today, and you feel absolutely zero financial anxiety. No dreading that quick check of your bank balance, no sheer panic over a sudden car repair, and you are definitely not dragging yourself to a job you despise just because you feel trapped. Instead, you've got options. You have total, unshakable peace of mind. Well, today, in this explainer, we're going to break down the psychology of wealth. And what we'll discover is that getting to that mindset isn't about perfectly timing the stock market, it's actually all about mastering your own habits.
Now, right off the bat, we run into an idea that pretty much flips everything society tells us about getting rich totally upside down. I mean, we are so conditioned to think of wealth as this highly visible, dramatic thing, right? We immediately picture the sudden lottery jackpot, or that one incredibly lucky crypto trade, or some massive tech buyout. But what if true, lasting financial freedom isn't built by those flashy, dramatic events at all? What if it's actually built by something way quieter, something almost completely invisible to everyone else?
To really wrap our heads around this, think of it like building a wall. On one side, you've got the lottery approach, just standing around hoping for a stroke of luck and some huge, life-changing, dramatic moment to drop a fully built house in your lap. On the other side, you have laying bricks. Treating your financial future like building a massive, sturdy brick wall is completely different. Every single dollar you choose to save, every random impulse purchase you manage to walk away from, every emotional panic sell you refuse to make, that's just one boring, completely unnoticed brick. Let's be real. Nobody's going to applaud you for skipping a fancy coffee. Nobody's throwing you a parade because you quietly transferred $50 into your savings account. But over thousands of these tiny, invisible, everyday choices, that wall gets so incredibly high and so strong that absolutely nothing can knock it down.
We also constantly fall into this trap of thinking that wealth requires a genius-level IQ, or that you need to understand these wildly complex mathematical models. But honestly, it's incredibly similar to physical fitness. Think about it. Knowing how to do a push-up is ridiculously easy. Almost anyone can understand the basic mechanics of a push-up in, 10 seconds? That's just the knowing how part. But having the actual discipline, the emotional control, and the good behavior to get down on the floor and crank out those push-ups every single day, especially on those days when you're exhausted, stressed out, or distracted, that is what actually gets results. Financial success works the exact same way. It's really not about being the smartest person in the room, it's about being the most disciplined.
In fact, when we look back at major financial disasters in people's lives, they almost never happen because someone couldn't read a spreadsheet. They almost always start with super predictable emotional missteps. It's someone buying a lifestyle they literally can't afford, just to impress people they probably don't even like. Or it's following the crowd, jumping headfirst into a giant investment bubble just because their neighbors won't stop talking about it. Or maybe the most common one, panicking and selling everything off at the exact wrong moment during a market dip. You see, these aren't failures of intelligence, not at all. They are failures of emotional control during really predictable moments of high stress. So let's try thinking about your financial life like taking a sailboat out to sea. You can sit there and complain all day long about the weather. You can complain about the overall economy, the inflation rates, what the central banks are doing with interest rates, but you have absolutely zero control over any of that. The weather's going to do what the weather's going to do. But you do have 100% absolute control over your sales, meaning how much you spend, how much you save, and the patience you show when the waters inevitably get incredibly choppy. You have to adjust your sales to survive the weather. If you waste all your energy yelling at the wind and completely ignore your own sales, well, you're going to sink. And that leads us to an absolutely crucial takeaway. Consistency creates wealth, not complexity. Way too many people spend years just sitting on the sidelines, trying to find the absolute perfect, mathematically flawless investment strategy. But the truth we see in our source material is pretty striking. A totally simple, maybe even slightly boring plan that you can actually stick with for decades will always, and I mean always, outperform some brilliant, highly complex strategy that you abandon after just 6 months because it was way too stressful to keep up with.
Now, let's talk about momentum. Imagine a tiny snowball sitting at the very top of a long, steep, snow-covered hill. As you give it a push and it rolls down, it picks up more snow, getting bigger and faster, right? That is compounding. But what's super fascinating here is that compounding doesn't just apply to the money sitting in your index fund. As you practice good financial behavior, your confidence compounds. Your understanding of how the world works compounds. The trust other people have in you compounds. Good habits compound. Basically, everything valuable in your life grows massive through consistent daily repetition. The money is simply just one reflection of that giant rolling snowball.
But as your snowball grows massive, there is a major psychological trap we really need to watch out for. Do not let that success turn into arrogance, because the market, and frankly, life itself, is wildly unpredictable. It will always find a way to surprise you. You're going to face totally unexpected setbacks, and you'll probably see some incredibly unexpected opportunities too. Because of that, staying curious and staying humble is literally your best armor.
Preparing for a really wide range of outcomes by building up your resilience is so much more valuable than trying to act like a fortune teller and predicting an unpredictable future.
Which brings us to one of the most powerful words in finance, and honestly, probably in life: enough. Think of the concept of enough like sitting down for a really good, highly anticipated meal. Eating until you are perfectly satisfied gives you awesome energy and makes you feel great, and it nourishes you. But if you just keep eating and eating and eating just because the food happens to be sitting there, eventually you eat until you're bursting and it literally makes you sick. Never ever let society or social media or random advertisements dictate how big your meal needs to be. Finding your own personal enough is that magical point where you can finally sleep peacefully and choose your own purpose over outside pressure. Let's do another quick thought experiment together. Imagine looking back on your life, say 3 or 4 decades from now. When you're sitting out on your porch in retirement, enjoying the breeze, will you really look back fondly and remember the exact specific model of that unbelievably expensive smartphone you felt you had to upgrade every single year? Are you going to deeply cherish the memory of some luxury car lease that you bought purely to impress complete strangers in traffic for a couple of weeks?
The answer, obviously, is probably not. You aren't gonna remember the flashy stuff. It all just fades into the background noise of life. But what you will absolutely, definitely remember is the freedom you had. You'll remember the long, uninterrupted afternoons you spent with your family. You will remember the totally unique experiences you were able to afford, and the creative chances you were actually able to take, all because you made those wise, quiet, boring little decisions years and years earlier. And that completely shifts how we view our relationship with capital. Money is simply a tool. That is the whole shebang. Just a tool. It's exactly like a hammer. In the wrong hands, if you treat money as your entire identity and let it become your master, it just smashes things up and creates immense stress and daily anxiety. But in the right hands, if you treat money strictly as a tool, as your servant, it builds incredible possibilities. You just let it work quietly in the background while you focus your energy on actually living a meaningful life.
So this brings us to what might be the single most powerful idea in our source material, and it's this: wealth is what you don't see. Let that profound thought sink in for a second. It is completely counterintuitive to our whole Instagram-obsessed culture, right? True wealth isn't the shiny gold Rolex. It's not the massive 8-bedroom mansion. True wealth is the investment accounts that are left totally untouched. It's the emergency savings safely locked away and protected from impulse buys. It's a totally unapplauded discipline of living below your means, and the quiet, completely unnoticed patience of letting time do all the heavy lifting for you.
To actually reach that safe harbor of financial peace, we really don't need some secret treasure map filled with hidden shortcuts. We just need to follow a wonderfully simple, completely unsexy recipe. Spend less than you earn, save consistently, and invest patiently. Literally, that is it. If you can manage to do those 3 things, while avoiding those emotional reactions we talked about, respecting that the world is uncertain, and defining success entirely on your own terms, well, you win the game.
Which brings us to our final and definitely most important question. Is your ultimate investment actually in the stock market, or is it in the person you are becoming? Because the psychology of money was never, ever about getting rich quickly. It has always been about your character. It's about slowly, deliberately transforming into the kind of person who has the emotional maturity and the discipline to build wealth, protect it from their own worst impulses, and then actually use it to create lasting peace and purpose. So I'll leave you with this to chew on today. If your bank account is simply a reflection of your daily habits, what kind of person are your habits building right now?